Hi guys, in this video we are going to build this blog with Next.js 15 and also markdown MDX. And we are also going to use Tailwind CSS, which has both light mode and dark mode, as we can see here. So these post files are separate MDX files that we can see here. So we will also be adding syntax highlighting for this. Right now it's not added, we will add that too. Just as two main pages, this home page and the blog page. The main difference between those two is that the blog page is missing this hero section. That's it. There is no other specific difference here. In the footer there are three links here which just goes back to the home page. So just added that. So if you want, you can just create the files and you can change the routing to it. So this is a very simple block that we can just easily build. I've also added like a mobile design to it. So if we go to inspect, you can have like any phone you want here, and we can see that it looks good for mobile as well. Yeah, if I click on a particular post, it will just come here as well. Yeah, in light mode. So we are going to use MDX to handle the posts. Before we start, I have taken this design from this Figma community. So if you want to check this file, I will just leave a link in the description below. So you can, I think there's a few other pages in this. So if you want to check this design, you can just check it out. So I have created a basic Next.js application with the following options. And let's do a bit of a cleanup here. So in global.css, let's remove everything other than the first three lines. And in layout.tsx, so we don't need these fonts. Actually we are going to import another font from workscience. So we are going to use workscience font const workscience. Make sure the w is small. Yeah. Is equal to workscience, and let's use the subset. So subsets will be Latin within the square brackets. Yeah. So instead of these two, we are just going to have workscience dot variable, or we can just call the class name. I think, yeah. Okay, so if you want, you can just change the title here. I'm just gonna go like MDX Blog, and you can just change anything you want here. So we are going to add a CSS here. Before that, let's just clean up the home page and we'll just make a quick run to see if everything is working properly. I'm just gonna remove this and let's remove everything here. Div. Hi, I'm just gonna have this text. Yeah, so let's try and run this now. npm run dev. So let's go to the browser and open up a new tab. Let's go to localhost 3000 and we can see our text here. So everything is working fine. So now let's go back to into layout.tsx and let's add a CSS code here. So by default the background will be white, but in dark mode let's keep the background to a specific color. So we're just going to use X code here. So we just need to add a square bracket and we can just enter that code, which is 2425 and 35, so which creates this black color. So if we go to the site now, we can see the color here. So right now my system is in dark mode, so this is what it's showing. Text should be black, and in dark mode the text should be white, or we can make it like slate or whichever color you want. The max width of the screen should be 7xl, and let's make it mx auto to center it. In order to play with the themes here, we need to create a theme provider, right? So in the parent directory, create a folder components, and let's create a file called themeprovider.tsx. So since the user will be interacting with the themes here, we are going to use a client component here. So use client export function theme provider. So we need to take the children and props here. Children, and we'll just spread the props. So we need to define the types here, right? So theme provider. Yeah, so we are going to use next themes here. So we need to install that first. So in the terminal, let's start the site and let's go with npm I for install next hyphen themes. So while it installs, I'm just going to create this. So and then we are going to create a use state here. So mounted set mounted will be equal to use state from React state. By default it will be false, so we are in the server side, we have not mounted with the client. So we are going to use effect here to make sure that we are connected with the client here. So within the curly braces we are going to set mounted will be true. So what's happening is that the use effect will run once it's mounted, like mounted or connected with the client or fully loaded in the client. So we will have this as true. So we can make sure that the provider is only accessible there. So if we don't do this, we'll just get an iteration error because the server will have a different code with the client. So I'm just gonna comment this out and show you how it will be if you are not going to use this. Now let's just import the theme provider from Next Themes. So import theme provider from Next Themes, and we are going to have an alias here as Next Themes Provider, and we need to create this type, right? So for that type, I'm just gonna copy this. Will be equal to React with a capital R dot component props, and within arrow I'm just gonna type of next theme providers, next themes providers. Okay, so we have created our provider. We'll just need to return that, return next theme provider, and we will just pause in all the props here, and we'll just put our children inside of us. Make sure you're using the split operator with 3 dots. Yeah, I think it will throw an error because we are not using this, but let's just add it to the layout.tsx. So here let's just go with, sorry, theme provider, no? Yeah, here we can define few attributes here, like attribute will be from class within quotes, of course, and we'll set the default theme as system. So it will take whatever the theme that our system has, a light mode or dark mode. So enable system, disable transition on change. So I think we are done with our layout.tsx now. Let's just try and run this, run dev, and if we go to the site now and refresh, yeah, we can see an error here. It says that the iteration has failed because it didn't match with the client. So it has rendered one theme in the server side, and when it goes to the client, it changes the theme, right? So it doesn't work like that. It should be same. So we need to make sure that the code comes to the client before it's rendered in the server. So for that, we're just using this mounted here. So if we use this, and we can just make sure that we are using if condition here. So if it is not mounted, we are not returning any this provider, we are just returning the children alone. So if it is not mounted, return. So we are just going to return children. Yeah, so this makes sure that the iteration error is not coming. So if we go back, we can see hi here, and we can see that the max width of someone else is also occurring, so everything is working fine. Now we need the toggle button and everything to switch between themes, right? For that, let's just create a header. So in the components folder, I'm just going to create a new file called header.tsx, and fce will create this function for me. Sorry, yeah, you can just remove all this, and I'm just going to put this export default front here itself. Yeah, and in the page.tsx, instead of hi, I'm just going to render the header here from components header. So if we go to the UI, we can see the text header has appeared. So in the header, we will have like two or three things, like we're separating it like two things. So we will have this like the logo and also this blog page and the toggle button. So the resources for this is in the GitHub link I have provided in the description below. You can just go there and download all the svg and images files that we are going to use in this, so that we can just do it together. So inside the public folder, I'm just going to paste in few files here. Okay, now here we're just going to, instead of div, we're just going to use a header tag with a class name of flex justified between items center, and let's keep the py of 9. And for mobile screens, we'll have the px of 5. So after the MD screens, we don't need anything, so px of 0. So first, we'll just create a link tag here. So make sure you're importing the link from next link, and the href will be to the home page. Since we're going to use the logo here, we'll add it in a minute. And we will also have another div here for our links for the blog page and also a toggle. So here let's just add a few class names. So class name will be flex space x of 2. So we're just adding the space between that logo and the text of meta blog item center. So let's get the images from the next image. So image from next image. So source, I'm just gonna use empty strings for now, which width is going to be of 36, height is going to be of 36, and let's keep the alt as logo, and let's give it as a priority to load first. So now we need to give the source, right? So inside the source, so we have two kinds of logos here, one for the dark theme, one for the light theme. Let me just show you that. So in the dark theme, we can see that the outer is white and the inner is blue. If we switch it off, it just inverts, right? So for that, we have two SVG files that we will just use a conditional operator to change between them. So that is what these two files are. The union is the logo. So this is the dark union for the dark logo and the light union for the light logo here. So we are just going to use conditional operator here for that. So we need to get our themes, right? For that we can use theme from next themes. So const themes will be equal to, sorry, theme, not with the s. Use theme from next themes. Yeah. So this theme will give us the current theme that we are using. So theme is equivalent to light. So we are just checking if it is a light theme. And if it is, we are going to use a location. And if it is not, we're just going to use another. So if it is, we're just going to use the light hyphen union dot svg. If it is not, we'll just have the talk union dot svg. Yeah, I think it works now. If we go to the UI, attempted to call use theme from the server, but use theme is on the client. Okay, alright. I haven't used use client here. Use client. Now we can see it. Now after the image, we're just going to add our text like that meta blog div. The text should be of 2XL. We'll add the meta, and let's have a span tag here for our blog. We're just going to make the font bold as font to bold. Yeah, it works now. In this div, we are going to use flex here also. So flex space extend. Okay. So we will have two links here, like a nav tag for our blog and the button for our toggle. So class name will be space x of 10. But this is not going to add any space or anything, since we just have one link, right? So if you are going to add multiple links, it will be easier like this way. So I'll just build it like this. So we're just going to create a variable for this. So in here we can just say const links is equal to square bracket curly parenthesis. Display name should be blog and href should be slash blog. So inside this now we are just going to loop through that links.map. We're just going to take L and IDX, and we're just going to use the link tag again, and we'll have the key of IDX here, and we'll just have the L dot display name, and we need to add href here as well. So href will be L dot href. Yeah, so if we need to add few more pages, you can just add this here and it will add it in the header. So after the nav tag we'll have a button. This is going to like a toggle theme, right? So focus, we don't need any outline here, so outline none, and area label, so this is optional, you can use it if you want. So inside this we are going to use an image. The source is going to be same as before, so there will be a conditional operator here, so we can just show the difference between the like theme and the dog theme we have. And the alt will be theme toggle or toggle theme. When you have whatever the text you want, the width should be of 48 and the height should be like 28. So I have taken this sizes from that Figma design, so I've just used it, and let's just go with the priority. Yeah, so here also if the theme is equivalent to light, we'll use a string here. If it is not, we'll use another string. So if it is light, we will go with light toggle dot svg, and if it is not, we'll go with dark toggle dot svg. As you can see, it is working now, and if we can't just toggle that because we haven't written that on click function yet, so let's just do it now. So in the button we are just going to add an on click which is going to toggle the theme. So I'm just going to copy this and we are going to create this function. Const toggle theme will be an arrow function. So here we are just going to use a set theme from use theme here, so to set our themes. So after theme, set theme, we can just call that and we can just set the theme here. So set theme, again we have to use the conditional operator here. So theme is equivalent to light. So if it is a light theme, we have to change it to dark, right? And if it is not, we have to change it to light. So it will just switch between the both whenever we are triggering this function. So if we go there now, okay, in tailwind config we have to add this dark mode class here. So in tailwind.config.ts, before the content here, we just make sure dark mode is using class here. So class. So with this, it will recognize all the dark mode variables inside Tailwind CSS. So in layout.ts, we have used this to dark, right? So it will work now. So if we go to the UI now, and if I toggle it, yeah, we can see that it switches between colors now. So we are done with our header. Okay, and we'll just finish it off quickly with the footer also, since it is quite easy to do. So in the components folder, I'm just going to create a footer .tsx or of scene, So in footer also we are going to use this logo, as we can see here. So this is also going to be like a client component, since we need to check which theme the client is on. So let's just have use client here also, and const theme will be equal to use theme. So I'm just going to copy that logo part from the header file. So copy this link tag alone in the footer. Just gonna paste this. Make sure you are importing image from next image and you are importing link from next link. Yeah, so if we go to the UI now, I haven't added this in the page.tsx. So we'll have our content between here, footer. Yeah, so when we add the content, you just go to the bottom. So we don't have to worry about that here. We just need to add these three links. Yeah, so inside footer.tsx, we'll add a class name, py of 8, flex px of 5 for mobile screens, and mdx ps of 0. So after MD screen, we don't need that padding. Justify between items center, border top alone, to border gray 300. In dark mode, we need the border to be gray of 600. Yeah, and we will have the MT of 10. So after this link tag, we're just going to use a div here, and we will have our links here. So link href, I'm just gonna put it to the home page. The terms of use, I'm just gonna paste it 2 times, and privacy policy, cookie policy. So let's just add a class name here, and we are done with our footer. The class name is going to be flex call for mobile screens, and after the MD we'll change it back to flex row. Text gray of 700. In dark mode we'll keep the text gray of 400, and after MD we need a space between x of 10. So it will be in row after MD screen set, so we need a space there. So if we go to the mobile screens, we can see that it comes like from top to bottom. So let's add our hero section now that we can see here. I'm just gonna close all the files for now, and in page.tsx, before the content we need to add the hero div. We can use a class name here like margin bottom of 20, px of 5, and after MD screens px of 0. So I should have just used it in the layout.ts itself, but so here we are. I'm just going to use it now. So div, again the class name is going to be, so here we are going to give the height of the image. So in mobile screens we'll use it 250 pixels. So I'm just going to use square bracket for custom values, and after MD screens we need the height to be 500 pixels, right? So 500 px. Let's go to 600. And why am I doing is that we are going to add another text box above that image. So we need to have the div like this. So and we need to use the relative as well. So let me just make sure that it's rounded, and we'll add in the relative. Okay, so in this there is going to be two things, the image and the div for the text box. Let's add the image here. So image from next image, and the source. The source is inside the images slash hero.png that we can see here. So this is what we are calling the source. So you can just download it from the GitHub link below. So the alt should be after this. Alt is like hero image. And for the sizes, I'm just going to give 100 view length, view height actually, fill. Yeah. So this will give us this image here. So if we go here, yeah, we can see the image there. we just need to add in our text box here. So div. So I'm just going to add in the content first and we will add the CSS later. So within this div, I'm just going to create a p tag and technology. So we'll have a h2 tag here, which is the impact of technology on the workplace. So how technology is changing. So in the design, they have given it like not a hero section. This is like the latest post, but I have changed it into a hero section. So if you don't want to have this text box, or if you want the hero section to be a blog post, you can just change this into the link and you can just href it to your particular blog post. So after the h2, we will add another p tag. So this is for the author and the date and time. And 5 August 20 of 2022. If we go there right now, we won't be seeing anything because the text is actually behind this image. So for that, we just need to add in the absolute class name here. So absolute. Yeah, now let's just do the placements and the colorings and everything. Minus of bottom of 8. BG should be white. And in dark, let's keep the color as the same as the background. So it's like 24, 25, 135. P should be 6. Margin left of 10. Rounded large. Shadow large. Shadow large. Yeah. Max width of, I'm just gonna go down here. Yeah. Max width of, we're just going to use a custom property like 80% larger screens. After the MD screens, we just want the max width to be 40%, right? So as we can see that now if we change between them, it works properly. So we just need to add a blue box here and a little bit of styling for the text. Alright, for our class name in p tag, I'm just going to go with the text of access, bg blue of 700, which should be fit, py of 1, px of 2. Text should be wide in both the themes. So we are going to use text wide and rounded of MD and margin bottom of 1. So if we go there, you can see it works now. So for our H2, we'll use the text as base for mobile screen and we'll change it to a greater 3XL for MD screens and above, and the font should be bold. So here we're just going to use text should be small and margin top of 4. Yeah, as we can see, everything works now. Alright, so if I inspect it and go to like mobile screens, yeah, we have the image in the background. So instead of iPhone XC, we just go to iPhone XR. Yeah, it's working now. Now let's create a post here. So for post, first let's add our MDX to our project. So if we open this is a particular MDX file alone. So we're just going to use this Next.js MDX components here. So I will also link this link in the description below. So if you want, you can just follow along with this as well. Make sure you're using the app router here. So we need to install these packages. So I'm just gonna copy this and stop our server and paste it there, install. So let's just see what else is there to do. So we need to update our config.mjs, or I think we will have a ts here, next.config.ts. We just need to add our MD and MDX within the page extensions and we need to wrap it with the MDX. So I'm just going to copy this entire thing and let's go into our next.config.ts. So I'm just going to paste it below config g next config We don't need this. So everything is installed now. I think we have added all this as well, and we don't need this for types. Yeah, okay. So in the future, if we are going to use any more plugins here, so in this video we won't be needing any plugins here. So if we are going to add this as well, we will be adding it. So we need to create this MDX components.css as well. So I'm just gonna copy this, and in the parent directory, I'm just going to create a new file, mdx-components.tsx. I think we don't have to do anything for our components here. So rendering. So this is basically just we are having our page.tsx here, right? So like that we can have like our page.mdx and it will just work normally. And we can also use our JavaScript code inside that. So let's just use this example, or we don't need anything. Okay. So here inside the app directory, let's just create a new folder called blog, and we'll have a page.tsx for that page, which we will fill after some time. So we can just create a blog post within this blog folder. So we just need to add in a slug in the folder name and the page.mdx within it. Oh, no, for example, let's just have it like ABC, and I'm just going to name it like page.tsx. Sorry, we need to add the extension as MDX, right? MDX. You can also use MD if you want, it will also work. And I'm just going to copy some, I don't know, 5-10 lines here. So we can just have any code here. This is MDX, right? So we can have any types of MDX content inside this, and we can also add the JavaScript components, which we are going to see in a minute. So here I'm just going to use npm run dev. Now let's go to /blog/abc. Yeah, as we can see, header is working now. So if we want to add the header and footer, we can just add it here as well. But we don't want it like that, right? So we want it to cover it with the component so that everything we need will be like common between all the blog posts. So for that, we're just going to create a new component within the components folder. So we're just going to call this like a layout. So mdx layout.tsx. So for that, we can just create this layout.tsx file within the blog folder, but I'm just going to go with this. So this is going to be like an out of CE. So the name should not contain the hyphen here. MDX layout, and we are going to wrap this with the children, right? So we need to get the children as a parameter, and this type will be children react node. Alright, so within this div we can wrap in our children. Yeah, so we can give in our header itself, header, and we can have a new div for our children if we need to add any class name for it particularly. So we'll have a footer here, footer. Yeah, so if we go there now, alright, it won't show anything. We need to add this inside the page.mdx. So here, make sure you're importing it. So import mdx layout from /components /mdx layout. So now we just need to wrap this. So mdx layout, and this is a closing tag that you can just enter in the last line. Yeah. Now if we go to the UI, we can see our footer and the header here. We can see that although it is not appearing as it is on the markdown, we are not seeing any like the UI changes, right? So this is supposed to be an h1 tag, right? So as we can see here, so it is not changing like that. So for that, There are two ways to do this. One is that we can just manually define like what an h1 tag should have in the design properties like CSS, on what the image property should have or anything like that. But we're just going to use a typography plugin for that within the Tailwind CSS. So we just need to install this. I'm just going to copy this npm installed and Tailwind CSS slash typography. I will also leave this link in the description below as well. So if we use this, we can just this has a lot of classes here that comes with a predefined thing for markdowns. So it will have the h1 design, h2 design on everything predefined. And if we need to change anything, we can also do that as well. So I think this is like a good idea to go with. So I'm just going to use this. So in the terminal, we are going to install this npm package and we need to add it inside the tailwind.config.ts. So inside this plugin, I'm just going to call require and at tailwind css slash typography. So now that we have added this, we can use that pros clauses inside our markdown files as well. So inside MDX tailwind.tsx, I'm just going to add a class name here. We need a px5 for mobile screens and for markdowns, sorry, for our medium screens, px of 0. And let's give the max width of 4xl for our blog post content, and we'll just enter it with mx auto, and we're just going to use the default pros class here. If you want, you can use it like a, I think it has many designs like pros gray, pros slate that we can see below here. Yeah, so we can use all that as well. So I'm just going to use the default one, which is pros gray, which will just appear if I just use the pros. So in the dark mode, we just need to say it like pose invert. So it will just change the things. So now if we go to our page, nothing will change because I haven't started the server npm run dev. Now if we go there and refresh, yeah, now we can see that our content is like formatted and everything. For this code snippets, we will add the syntax highlighting at the end. So now I'm just going to have to say about the list of posts that we have to arrange. Like normally in MD and MDX file, we have our front matter at the top, right? So in this setup, it's not going to work. So by default, Next.js is not configured to like grasp the MDX front matter yet. So they are referring few packages outside like public packages that we can use. I thought we can just use like a JSON variable which consists all the front matter within a JSON format. I think that will be easier for now to do, and it's a different way to do it, right? So I thought I could just do it like that. So we will have like a post.ts file which has all the list of posts like the title, slug, which category it comes under, and the author and the published or updated date. So which consists that, and we are going to loop through that and we will add everything. And we also I need to add a thumbnail here. So if we see here, there is an image here, right? We will also add that within that post here. So whenever we are creating a new post, all we need to do is add that MDX file inside this blog directory, and we can just create whatever we need. And in order to list that MDX file in the home directory or the blog page, we just need to add that within this post file we are going to create like a new JSON object for that new post. So in the home directory, I'm just going to create a posts.ts. So in this first, let's just create an interface for it. I post. Yeah. So this is going to say what are the things we are going to have. String. So I'm just going to copy this like few more times. I think this is enough for us. So we'll have a slug, author, and the date, category, and our thumbnail for our post. Yeah, so these are the things we are going to use. One thing you have to be sure is that this slug should be same as this file folder name. So if we are using something like we will have like A, B, C, D and EFC as something like that in our slug, right? The post name. So we need to make sure that this and this are same so that the linking works properly. That's the one thing we need to be careful about. So right now we can say it has for page since I have changed it. FC. Yeah. I'm just going to add one property here. So let's put const posts and I post which is going to be an array of this JSON object. So here we can just I'm just going to paste some JSON data here. So I've just pasted some data here. So you can just get this data from the GitHub link below again. So there will be a post.ts. Sorry, there will be a post.ts there also. Some you can just copy that file here. And this thumbnail is what we are going to use for the images, which is also you can just get it from the GitHub link below. And I already copied this here. So within the image, we can see a thumbnails folder. And yeah. So for our blog post also, I'm just going to copy some files here. So before that, we'll just finish everything else before I paste those MDX files so that we can just handle it easily. Okay, so with this, let's work things out here. So we have to design this home page, that blog post, and we're just going to copy that exact same thing and paste it within the blog.tss as well, meaning the page.tss in the blog folder. Okay, so I'm just going to close all the pages and in page.tss below the content. So we'll use a div. We'll add the class name now itself. We are going to use grid calls of 1, which will be for mobile screens, and after empty screens we'll use the grid calls of 3, and we'll place the item center, and gap between these things will be 5. So here we need to just map through our posts. So make sure you are importing it from at post from the home directory, and we're just going to map through it. Map and p idx. There will be a link tag for all the posts so that we can just link it to the post. So here the key will be of idx, and then the href. For href we have the slug, so we're just going to use backticks and slash blog slash dollar curly braces p dot slug. So it makes sure that we are just going to that particular URL. So if we need, we can just see it in the UI. There will be nothing yet because I haven't added the text or something like that here, right? So right now, let me just add in the title so that we can see p dot title. Now we can see that it has created a few more pages here, and if I click on any of them, you can see it goes to that particular blog slash that slug page, which is the intended thing for us to do. Let's add a class name for our link tag, which will be a padding of 4. We need to group so that we can create this hover functionality. Yeah, we can see that if I even hover over this title, the image just like changes, right? So that hover, so that we are using group hover for that. Group rounded large border, and we're going to use a specific width here, which is going to be of 392 pixels. So border gray of 200, and in dark the border will be gray of 700. So I think it all comes in the boxes now. So what we need is that we need the image, the category, the title, and the author and the date, right? So let's just add those things. Here we need the image and category, title, author, and date. So let's get a div for our image, and let's give it an image tag. Make sure it is imported from next image, and let's give the source like p.thumbnail, which has the exact location for the image for this particular post. and let's give it a alt. So I'm just going to use the alt as p.title, and yeah, we can just cover it in a backtick curly braces, so dollar, and I'm just going to give it a hyphen of thumbnail, or we can just leave it empty also for now. And let's give the sizes of 100 ph, and we can use the fill property so that we don't get any error. But if we go to the UI now, we can see that all the text are coming like this. Since we haven't given any like a physical sizing for it, we're just using the fill in this. So we need to add a CSS within this div. So within this class name, we're going to, the height will be of 60 and it can take the full width, so that it will just take the appropriate width needed for that 60. In order for this to work, we just need to add a relative keyword here. Yeah, as we can now see, the image is appearing now. So we'll just make sure that if there is any overflow, it's hidden, and the rounded empty object cover, which is not needed, but I'm just going to add it anyway. And in group power, we can add the scale of 105, so it will just tweak a little bit more up. Yeah, now if we go there, we can see that it's all working. So but we need to slow it down, right? So for that, in group power, oh, we don't need to use group power, right? So the duration will be of 300. Transition hold. As we can see now, the hovering also working fine here. We are done with our image. Let's create our category now. So the category is going to be inside the p tag, and we can just say p.category, and let's add a class name here. It's going to be text of small, bg gray of 100. So this is in the light theme. So for the dark theme, the bg will be gray of 700, and we're just going to use it with an opacity of 95. Yeah, so text blue of 700, and in the dark mode the text will be blue of 500. So after this, font will be semi bold, my of 4, which should be fit, px of 2, pi of 1, and let's make it rounded small. So if we go now, it's working properly. So if we go to the day mode, dash change, if we go to the light mode, yeah, okay, then let's go to our title here, which is a h2 tag. Then this you can just say p.title, and let's add in the class name here. Text should be of 2xl, leading should be 7, font should be bold, py of 1, line clamp of 2. Line clamp is that if the title is so large, so after 2 lines you will just add that dot 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 in the end. Yeah, as we can see here. So if you're not using this line clamp, so for some posts it will be just 2 lines, like we can see here. For some posts it will take more than 2 lines, right? So the design will be like broken. So some box will be bigger, some will be smaller. So for that, by just making sure that the title stays within the 2 lines. So if there is more than 2 lines, you will just add in that 3 dots here. Yeah. Now let's add in our author and the date. This, we're going to use a div, and there's going to be 2 div here. So within the first div, the p.author, and I'm just going to do the same, and p.date. So let's add a class name here. The text should be gray of 500 for both the themes, and we're just going to use flex text of base, and the space between them should be 10, and py of 3. Yeah. Think we are done with this as well. So we have added all our posts here. So if I click on any of them now, it was going to show a 404 page. So I'm just going to paste this inside the blog.css as well. So RFC, I'm just gonna remove this and add this there and remove this. And if we go here, we can just copy this particular thing with the header and footer. So let's call the header and the footer. So within them we can just paste these things, and we just need to import the post link from next link, images from next image. So if we go to the blog page now, we can see this as well. So right now we have only this post, right, which we haven't added to the JSON yet, which I will show it in the end. So I'm just going to add some blog posts here. So let me just copy it. So I have like 10 blog or 10 or 11 blog posts here. So which you can just take it from the GitHub link. I'm just gonna paste it here. It's just throwing few errors at the bottom. I think it will just go away once it recognized all the files. So if we see here, it's same. I haven't added any special anything else within this. So most of the blog posts are smaller, only one or two blog posts like I have given. So I've just taken the content from the AI, right? So this blog post content, I just told the AI to generate some slugs, some MDX content so that we can just have something to work with. So let me just see what error we have here. Resource busy or locked. Okay, I think it will just work if we just restart the server. What I'm saying is that I haven't added anything special for this MDX content. So there are just normal MDX like markdown content wrapped out in this MDX layout as we saw before. So if we go to the UI, yeah, and if I click like the cloud architecture, yeah, it is working now. So as we can see, like there is an image for cloud architecture, right? It is not there. So we need to add that. So we're just going to create a component and we'll just add it in the MDX layout. It will just appear in all the blog posts. So in the components folder, thumbnail.tsx. So thumbnail.tsx. So here make sure you're importing the image from next image, and we'll add the source in a minute. And alt also we can add it. I'm just going to leave it empty for now, and we can just say fill. The sizes should be of 100 view height. So empty quotes for now. So the class name will be for the mobile screens, the height should be of 250 pixels, and after the markdown, sorry, the medium screens, the height should be 500 pixel or 600. No, let's just keep it with 500. MB of 10, overflow hidden, rounded large, relative. Yeah, I think that's it for our thumbnail. We just now need to do one thing. So it's going to wrap around the MDX, right? So like all the blog posts. So we need to find that particular blog post we are accessing. Like if I'm accessing this page, we need to make sure I'm just using the image intended for this title, right? So we need to get this path and then we need to cut this. After that we can just access it here. Right now let me just use the image of that hero section for all the things so that we can see how it looks and works. So slash images slash hero.png, and we just need to add it within the MDX layout.tsx. Before this children, we'll just add in our thumbnail. So if we go there UI now, it says it's a failed invalid URL. Oh, I think I've added one more code inside this. Right. So I think that's the only error here. So if we go to the UI, yeah, it's working now. So no matter which blog post I go, that image will be there. We need to change that, and we need to make sure that the image is related to that post, right? So for that, we need to get in our path name, like we can see here. So inside the thumbnail, we need to use like there is a state here like use path name inside Next.js. So in order to use that, we need to have it like a use client. So only then we can access the client data, right? Which space they are on, like that. So I'm just gonna create a const path name will be equal to use path name. So if you just give us that the particular path name, so let me just console log it for now so that we can see what it looks like. So since it is a client component, it will be in the browser, the console log will happen. So here then the console log. So here we can see like the blog and the slug is there. We just need the slug. So we will need to split it with this particular character like the forward slash, and we need the second element. So since we have two slash here, there will be three things created. So first will be like an empty string and the blog and then the slug. So by the index we need two, right? So 0 1 2. So the third element is the index of 2. Here what we are going to do is we are going to split it with the character of forward slash, and we need the second element. So okay, I should have kept it in the inspect itself. Now we can see that we are getting our slug here and everything is okay. Now we have a slug. We need to get the image according to it, and we also have our post in JSON. So we can just find it within that. So I'm just going to create another variable called post and post.find. We are going to find and make sure you're importing this post. Yeah. So in the find, we are going to take an element like p, which will be of type pipe post. So we're just telling it like it will be a post, and we're just going to find it with the slug, right? So p dot slug should be equivalent to the path name we are getting, which is the slug. You can just name it slug if you want. So okay. Oh, I'm just going to keep it with the path name itself. We can do the conditional operator here. So post dot thumbnail. So if it exists, I will use that, or we will default back to our hero.png. So we can see the image has been changed. So if I go to like getting started with web development, we can see that image here. Yeah, I think we are done with the most of the things. We need to add our syntax highlighting. But before that, as we can see that we have created that ABC, right, which is not added in here yet. We need to add that. So I already have the blog post ready. Let's say it like that. So I'm adding a new blog post. So it's inside there ABCEFG. So in post.css, I just need to add it here. So I'm just going to copy this. So if you want that particular post to be in the last section, you can just add it below. If you want top, you can just add it above. So if we go here, we can see that there are two things similar here, and this A B C hyphen EFG, and we can change the title as well. So it will be ABC space EFG. Okay. So I just need to change the thumbnail. Like we don't want the nearby with the same images, right? You can have whatever image you download, or if you're hosting it in a particular service like a Cloudinary or Firebase, you can also add that here in the link here. What we need to do is you will get an error if you're using an external link for that. So you just need to add that link within the domains within the Next.js config. So if you're adding anything from the public, like or an outside hosting service, you just add the link here. You will get an error. It will say you have to do this. If you just do that, it will just work. So I'm just gonna copy the screen coding here so that the nearby images looks different. That's it. So if I go there, You can see that the title has been changed. So if I click this now, it will just add this thing later. So if we go to the block section also, it will be funding. So if you want it like in the middle, you can just change it inside this post JSON object. Yeah, I think we just need to finish with the syntax highlighting now. So let's go with that. We are going to use Prismjs for syntax highlighting. Let's just install that now. npm I Prismjs. So now that it's installed, I'm just gonna spin up the dev server, run dev, and then let's create a new file in the components directory for our syntax highlighter. So syntax highlighter.tsx rfc. So this is going to be a client component. So we need to use client, and let's import Prism as well. Prism from Prismjs. Now make sure you're using like capital P here. It's saying it's declared but never used. Yeah, we will use it in a minute. So we need the children to pass, right? So like we will wrap this inside the MDX layout. So we need to pass the children to it so that the coding can come inside this, and we can just highlight that with the use effect. So we'll just get the children. Children of type react.react node, and we'll just pass in the children here. So within this, so we are going to use effect and arrow function with the square bracket at the end so that it only run once. So we're just going to use prism with the capital P dot highlight, not height, highlight all. Yeah. So it will just get our code and it will just highlight it. So let's just also install this types for Prism.js as well. We need to import a theme for us to choose. So I'm just going to go to the browser. I will put this link in the description below so you can just access it. And these are the different themes that are available in Prism.js. And we can see the theme, how it will look here. So we can just go to different themes and it will show how it will look inside the browser. So I'm just going to use like Twilight. So yeah, so you can also use Okadia, anything you want. That also works good with dark mode like this. So for now, I'm just going to stick with Twilight. Yeah. So we don't have to download anything from here. We already have it inside the package itself. We just need to import the theme. So import Prism.js slash themes slash prism hyphen the theme you are going to choose. Here it is Twilight .css. You can also use min.css for the minified version, but I'm just going to use with this. And then we need to also import the languages that we might use. So languages, just going to be import prism.js slash components slash prism hyphen html. So I think HTML will be normally available in that like the HTML, CSS and JavaScript side, but I'm just gonna include them anyway. So we can find the correct file for our languages within this node modules itself. So I'm just gonna minify this. And inside node modules, if we scroll down, we can find the Prism.js. So if I open the Prism.js, we can see into the themes. We have the themes here, so we can just choose that file and import it right there. And for languages, if we go within components, so we can see different languages here. So yeah, so if we have any type of languages uh, that doesn't work, if we just directly enter like HTML here, if doesn't work, check if that particular file is available or if they have named it differently or something like that. So this is the JavaScript side. The CSS side will all be contained within the one CSS file itself within the theme. Yeah, so you can just look into it and you can just use it. So I'm just going to copy this a couple of times. JS, CSS. You can just add as many languages you need. So make sure you're only importing the necessary things because it will increase the file size, right? Yeah, for now I'm just gonna leave with this. So in order for this to work, we need to put this inside our MDX layout. So we just need to wrap this within a syntax highlighter. Yeah, so we're just pausing the children inside the syntax highlighter. So in the browser, let's go to localhost. So I think I have code snippets inside this getting started. So I'm just gonna click this. It seems that there is no file for the Prism HTML. I think the HTML will be included by default itself. So I'm just gonna remove this. I think it will work again. So if we go there now, Prism.js is not available. I think they have named it like JavaScript instead of JS. So yeah, let's just rename it JavaScript. Yeah, if we go there now, yeah. So we can see that the HTML part is also highlighted. And I think I should have just gone with the Arcadia theme. Yeah. Okay, I'm just gonna stick with this for now. So we can see the JS part, CSS part, and also the HTML part. Everything is highlighted. So if you wanna just change the theme, you can just go with. I think it's the correct spelling. But yeah, if we go there, yeah, we can see that the theme has been changed. So there is an error, but stick with me for now. So you can just find this JavaScript name as I said before within the node modules. So the error we are getting here is that the iteration error. So what it's saying is that the code is different between the server rendered side and also in the client side. So I have tried with different ways to resolve this, but I couldn't find any solution that's much easier. So what I'm going to do is that if we build this, it is going to be just a static site, right? So if we build this, the iteration error won't come since it's just a static site, so it won't be rendering on the server side or anything. It will just give that file to the client, right? So what I thought is that we'll just use the node environment variable and we'll see if it is in the production. So if it is in the production, we'll just apply the syntax highlighting, and if it is in the development side, we don't need the syntax highlighting actually. So I thought I would just go with it to simply cross this path. Yeah, so inside the MDX folder, sorry, file. So yeah, actually instead of just passing it directly to the syntax highlighter, we'll just check it. So const is prod or production is equal to process dot env dot node env, which is a environment variable that will be available within Next.js itself. So we don't have to create one. So we'll just check if it is inside production. Yeah, so it will create a boolean value telling that true or false based on if it is production or not. So we'll just check if it is production. We'll just pass in this syntax highlighter. If it is not, we'll just pass the children within a div. Yeah. So if we do that now, we can see that we won't be getting that syntax highlighting anything and also not the error. So once we build the site, it will just show the syntax highlighting. So we also need to add one more thing, right? So in that is the copy. We need like a copy button or something like that here, so that if the user can just click it and copy the snippet, right? So for that we can use the toolbar within the Prism.js. Yeah. So let's import that also. Tools, import Prism.js slash plugins slash toolbar slash prism hyphen toolbar dot min dot css, and we'll just also import just the min, which is the JavaScript file, and we'll also import one more thing. Import prism.js slash plugin with a s slash copy -to -clipboard. So this is the path that is available within that Prism.js folder inside the node modules. And we're just going to import prism copy to clipboard. I'm just gonna copy this. Yeah, copy to clipboard dot min. Okay, I think I also have another language within the site itself. So if I go to the home page and inside this blockchain, yeah, so I think the solidity is also there. So what I'm gonna do is that inside this, I'm just gonna import that as well. Solidity. Yeah. So I think it will just work now. So what we need to do is now build the site, and you can see if there is any error or if it will just work. npm run build. Yeah, so it has been built. I'm just gonna start the server with npm start. Yeah, so if we go to localhost 3000 and refresh the page, so we can see that the highlighting is work. So I'm just also going to that getting started. Yeah, so we can see that the highlighting is working, and there's this copy button as well. So if we just click this, and we can just go somewhere and paste it, the code will be pasted here as well. So it's also working good. Yeah, so we can also go into the blog page. Everything looks the same. Yeah, I think it will also be available in the light mode. Okay, so I think we are done with our development side here. So that's it for this video. So if you like this content, give this video a like and subscribe for more.